Greetings and welcome to Leagues Ahead, the official league preview vodcast of the Arena Gauntlet League, wherein we discuss the mechanics and tournament structure of our future offerings. I am Christopher York. I am a philosopher of sports and games, the founder of the AGL, and the host of your vodcast. And today, my very special guest is Lotte P., coming to us all the way from the continent of Europe, and one of our newest acquisitions on the LC. And Lotte's going to help walk me through the mechanics of Foundations League. Welcome, Lotte.
Yes, thanks for having me, Chris. And almost couldn't be more excited for this one. I think Plane Chase may have been if one of my favorite, if not my favorite league so far. And I'm very happy we're running it back. I think we got a really good suite of designs.
Yeah, I mean, going back to how you joined the LC, or how anybody can join the LC, I think it was when we were first kind of spitballing the mechanics for this league, we were impressed by the number and the complexity and the clarity of your planar designs, as well as your sort of work on keeping the league stats. And usually, just like volunteering in a really creative or let's say positive way is how you get the notice of the LC and how you get the invite to join. So that's kind of Foundations League is kind of your origin story of how you get into the LC. So this is a very, I think, fitting time to have you on the vodcast.
All right, love that.
So before we go to Foundations, or what we call Plane Chase 2, can you give us just a quick recollection of what Plane Chase 1 was, what it was like, and how it helped feed into the design for Foundations?
Yeah, sure. So for me, Plane Chase was actually one of the first leagues I joined, and like the first non like standard league, like the first league that had like a lot going on. And the big concept of Plane Chase is, well, you're visiting a new plane every week. So what we did in Plane Chase 1 is um, you got like six packs from random sets, and then I believe we went to Call Time on the first week, and you got like some snow basic lands. And then we went to Strixhaven, and you got some lesson spells. And at some point we went to the Forgotten Realms, and there was a brawl. Um, there's a brawl week. So every week the what's going on in the league and what the important things are like change, and you get your deck are like a very much like a chaos, a potpourri of different sets. I like remember like doing decently well. I almost top 8 in that league, and I also like remember opening a Godos in my pool and then getting a World Tree um, in Kaldheim, and Godos concerts of the World Tree, and then you have all your mana fixed for all your colors. So I did manage to activate the 5 color ability of Godos on the week where I only played planes in my deck. So
Accomplishment
um,
unlocked.
yeah, for sure. And it's great. Like I think it's a very like it's very creative. It's very flavorful. I'm a big lore guy myself. So yeah.
Okay, and so from my recollection, the way that this worked was we were kind of waiting for a hole in the calendar to launch Plane Chase 2 because it was a pretty well received tournament, maybe one of our best received tournaments, question mark. I don't know the stats on that, but most people have kind things to say about it. And then Foundations came along, and we were told well in advance, well, this is a new core set. There's nothing really too special going on here. And so it seemed like Foundations was a good thematic link, right? So you have a strong foundation of this new set, and then you can kind of pepper it up by going plane to plane and adding different sets from those planes to your league pool. And strangely, it kind of fits in with the flavor of Duskmourn as well, as we're kind of like linking the leagues together and saying we're escaping the house through the foundations, I guess. We're escaping Duskmourn through the foundation into this new tournament. So it's kind of like we're taking a journey as a community through the multiverse.
For sure, and like looking at the spoilers for Foundations that are going on right now, I think it's a very good fit. Like a big part of the set is reprints and well, very like foundational reprints. You've got like essence scatter and uncommon and stuff like that. So the for League play, the set could definitely use some spicing up.
Right. Yeah. I've always been a fan of core sets, and of course, as you know, Caleb came up with a sort of plane where we could we could play three different core sets possibly in modular form. Unfortunately for me, as a fan of core sets, his design was not voted to win the contest to decide what the first plane was that we were going to visit in Foundations League. Can you tell us a bit about the week one plane that the community voted for and where we're going?
Sure, I can. Let me bring it up.
Okay.
Um, Actually, I have one thing before that. So we have the whole planar deck.
Mm.
There is the week one plane, and then there's 25 more cards in the planar deck, planes that we can go to. And for phenomena, those are something a little different. We'll get to them when we get to them. But one plane we know that we're going to for sure, and that plane is the Uncharted Haven on Dominaria, with big credits to Delta A, who won, I think, among 20 designs on this. Um, yeah, Uncharted Haven, all combat packs are from Foundations, and whenever you open a combat pack, you can choose a combat from Foundation that's not in your pool and add it to your pool. And we do know that Llanowar Elves is a common in Foundation, so I will
Mm.
expect that little guy to be picked a bunch.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about this one in that, the silver bullet mechanic in Brawl League was really abusable. And some people think, right, that what's good about the comeback packs is that you don't know in advance which color is going to be favored or which way you're going to be forced to redesign your deck. This kind of lets you take your best color and make it better, right? So I think that I was a little bit alarmed, but then maybe my concerns were slightly mollified by the fact that we're just talking about silver bullets within one base or core set, essentially. And it had to be one that you didn't already have, so you couldn't just get a four of filled out in your deck, right? It had to be a novel card that you hadn't opened yet. So those two factors, I think, sold me on shipping Uncharted Haven as is. Now, that we should say before we continue on through the planar deck that each one of these designs is open to revision by the LC prior to tournament launch, right? So what we're doing is we're shipping with the invitation to register for the tournament a tentative set of planar cards, but if for balance reasons or creative reasons the LC wants to change them or tweak them prior to launch, caveat emptor, buyer beware. We might do that to a couple of planes, and one of them might be your favorite. We won't do it frivolously, obviously, but if we think that, on all things considered, it would be a better tournament if one of the planes were different, we reserve the right to do that.
For sure. Oh, and also I would like to just to give one behind of the scenes peek. Like I think for all of the you'll get to see 25 of our designs. Well, most of our designs and a couple that we stole from the runner-ups from the play and design contest.
So
But you'll get to see 25 more things. But we have over 100 things that we considered. You would not believe how big our uh, uh, a sheet with plain IDs is.
yeah, I mean, the way I like to say it is that we designed roughly 30 different tournaments, and we're going to end up using 6 of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the LC really worked overtime on this one.
For sure. All right, let's go to the week 2 plates, if you're fine with that.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
All
go on
right.
tour.
Kick us off with the BBO flags.
All right. All comeback packs, and that's the new branding, of course, for the old punishment packs, the cleaned up, brighter image of those. All comeback packs are from Strixhaven, School of Mages. Whenever you open a comeback pack, open one random common or uncommon story spotlight to your pool. This was one of the designs that I pitched for the original Plane Chase and was shot down, so I was happy to see this one make a return. Because I always like planar designs that focus on something you haven't really thought about before. And I think story spotlight cards, we see them on the bottom, story spotlight, and we don't ever think about them again. But the Biblioplex is about storing the lore from all of the different planes of the multiverse, and I think this is a nice way to sort of shout that out.
Yeah, for sure. I really like this design, and credits to you for designing it, Chris. And
There's one thing though.
also,
There's one thing though, right? So I had originally said just any story spotlight card. The LC put the brakes on that idea. Maybe you can speak a little bit to the discussion that went into making this a common or uncommon story spotlight
yeah,
instead of any old story spotlight card.
yeah, for sure. There are a ton of, if you look at the story spotlights, well, there are some decent amount of good cards in there. I think I counted like 15 different rats. So those are a ton. And then Ethereal Absolution is on there and decent amount more bombs. So we thought about it. We thought like, oh, maybe we should like rarity balance the story spotlights. Maybe we should do them all, or maybe we should just do common and uncommon. And we ended up doing only common and uncommon. Like um, you get because this is for each comic pack you get. If the status gets rolled around week two and we have 100 players, then that will introduce 250 story spotlights to the pool. Well, if 10% of the story spotlights is a super bomb or like a rat or what have you, then that will have like a pretty big impact. And with this common and uncommon design, it's still there, it's still visible, and I hope that we can give it like some nice little touch of flavor, but um, it's not as in your face as if you also include the rare mythics.
I hope that the one story spotlight card at least saves one player in one game, and they say, okay, that's my story spotlight. That's my dream for this
For
card.
sure. Yeah. And I also like I think it like from a flavor standpoint, it's great. All right. Um, let's go to one of the most recent planes we've been to, Bloomborough, Tree City. Very simple one. All combat packs are from Bloomborough. League decks must contain no humans. Don't worry, train changes are allowed. Creature mascot is still okay.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah, any thoughts,
was.
Chris?
I think the original version of this was themed for M20. I think was like the cats and dogs themed set,
Ah,
and I think that this was in the original deck and perhaps not rolled. And then when Bloomberg was released, and there are no humans on that plane, it became a pretty obvious reskinning for this plane. And I do think, like Wizards of the Coast, they get a little lazy with their creature design. They tend to favor humans and humanoids a lot. And so just like having that have an impact on your deck building, not having access to the majority of your creatures, I think is going to open up a lot of interesting deck design space. What's your take, Lotta?
yeah, interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's just like a light touch, but one that I like. I also like took a quick look at the foundation cards that were being spoiled, and there aren't a ton of humans yet. They may still come. There are a ton of cats though, which I love. So we'll see if the restriction is probably more impactful the later we get in the league. It would be my bet.
Yeah, wait till those cats get to Bloomborough. They're going to wreak havoc.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine. Like, look at Eager Owl. Like that thing is a menace.
It is. It really is.
All right. Well, next we have a set of two planes that are very similar and they're linked together. Why don't you read this off, Chris?
Okay, just give me a sec here. I'm gonna. Yeah, so we have the Salt Road and Park Heights, and these are come as a pair because if you roll one, you cannot roll the other, and it's either Tarkir or New Capenna that you go to. I think we're basically doing this as a coin flip. When you planeswalk to either one, you're assigned to either a clan or a crime family, and then you get a bonus when you enter the plane, either of a banner and uncommon land for Tarkir, or a rare land for Capenna. And then at the end of the week of play, if you are in the clan with the highest win percentage, you get a random rare mythic from Khans of Tarkir if you're from Tarkir, or you get a random rare mythic from Streets of New Capenna if you're in Capenna. So what this does is it, for 1 week, introduces faction play, which again is a very popular and strong league mechanic to the league, ever so temporarily. and then takes it away at the end of the week with a small bonus for the winners, and then we carry on traveling through the multiverse.
Yep, for sure. So this is really one that's for the people who love the factionalized league design. So if we go here, like expect a whole bunch of channels for all leagues. Expect the role playing there. Expect like to like go to for help to your family or your clan for when you're stuck with your deck. We may even keep some of those things around if when we leave Tarkir or Capenna. Um, yeah, so that's right.
Yeah, so
So that's
faction play is great for community building, great for welcoming new players. So there's always been, whenever there's been a faction league, right? There's lots of stories emerging from that. So I think that this is going to be a popular one if we roll it. Again,
yeah,
it's out of our control whether we visit. That's part of the fun, is that we design this experience that no one possibly might have, but nevertheless, it's tantalizing. I hope we land in these ones.
yeah.
One thing we should say is if you
Um,
already have a clan or a faction from the old leagues, you get to keep that. In fact, you have to keep that. We're going to rebalance the teams around you. So you get the gang back together, essentially, which is kind of fun.
for sure. Um, um, all right, let's go to the next one. Like this is
Sure.
one of your designs, or well, partly your design. It's a temporal anchor, playing Dominaria. Whenever you lose a match, open one combat pack of Brothers War and one combat pack of Dominaria. So you can choose one and add it to your league pool, then discard the other. Um, People who've played the previous Plane Chase or Brothers War League will recognize this as a version of the Urza Mishra packs. So in Brothers War, you would open every loss, you would open one pack of the Brothers War. Your Ursa pack and your Mishra pack would be some other pack, randomly generated, I believe, from all the options that were on Arena at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in this case, the random pack has been replaced with a pack of Dominaria, so one from modern times, and we're using the temporal anchor to like flavor this connection between the times of Brothers War and the time of modern Dominaria. And that last part was a suggestion by you that I really liked.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of sad, right? The Dominaria, it's a fan favorite as a set, but it just isn't strong enough to hang with a lot of contemporary packs. The only real way that we can sort of bring it in, flavor wise, is in some sort of like temporal time travel shenanigan where you have a choice between. It's usually going to be correct to pick Brothers War, but occasionally, right?
Mm.
You're going to have a pack of
What
Dominaria
do you
that's super.
think the percentages will be for
Ooh,
Brothers War and Dominaria?
gosh, I think it's going to be 75-25 at the best for Dominaria,
Yeah,
right? But there's still enough in there to give it a little bit of flavor, I think.
for sure.
So I do like the idea. You reskinned it as the temporal anchor. I like that. And I do like the sort of modular choice that this gives players. You'll always be able to make your deck better, regardless of what color in. I think you'll be able to find that you can have a more reliably good comeback pack if you can sift between two possible candidates. So I think this is a pretty simple design. As you say, calls back to our old tournament offerings. And it just is kind of neat on its own. So I like this one too.
Yeah, sure. Speaking of designs that call back to our old leagues. Oh,
Oh, yeah. So this is Valgavoth's Lair. All comeback packs are from Duskmourn House of Horrors. When you planeswalk to Valgavoth's Lair, increase each player's deck size by 2 for each match they have won. When you planeswalk away from Valgavoth's Lair, all deck sizes return to normal. So this was a funny one, based on our current mechanic, but slightly different. So the Dread mechanic adds 2 cards to your minimum deck size for every win that you have. I think we didn't want to track that throughout the week of play, so it's here in a modified version. It just the card counts how many wins up to this point in the tournament you've accrued, and then just alters your deck size for that week. I think in the final version of this card, we can probably get rid of the last line of text because all the planar effects end when we planeswalk away. So
Sure.
we might be able to sort of magnify the size of that text, but I think like functionally speaking, this is the version that we thought was the cleanest kind of callback to Duskborn League mechanics.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I'm kind of sad about, like I like this design, but I wish like this one was longer ago. Like right now,
Mm.
like I'm pretty done with rats, but we'll see. On the other hand, like the packs for this one are strong, and I'm sure that we'll get can make like a good story about like the planar refugees being like trapped in the house again.
Yeah, I think Velgavoth might sort of appear and taunt the players if we end up going back to this plane after having
Oh
ostensibly
yeah, I would
escaped
hope
from it.
so.
And I think it's also exciting to see what Duskmorn is going to do as a sort of minor set, as a spice instead of being the base experience, right? Because right now we got Duskmorn as being like what I don't know, like 60 or 70% of the packs that people have opened for the league. Plus, if you consider the starting pools, right? And so this is just a chance to see Duskmorn cards shine in a new environment. I think it's a completely new experience for people. And I think if you're weary of the Duskmorn experience, I think this is still going to be pretty fresh for most players.
For sure. I do hope it would be very funny if we like go here last week and everyone ends back at the same place.
Oh, that would be funny.
Um,
Yeah, I kind of hope that happens
yeah,
now. And then the deck sizes are going to be insane because people are going to have so many wins in week 6.
yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. Onto a design that we took from the runner-ups from Plane Compact, Castle Garenbrak. It's the Eldraine plane. All
Mm-hmm.
combat packs are from Throne of Eldraine, and whenever you lose a match, you can either choose Prince to add a random Throne of Eldraine rare to your pool, or Pauper to add 10 random commons to your pool. This one was designed by Emmet. And just like we talked about with Dominaria a minute ago, Throne of Eldraine like really doesn't hold up to like current power levels, so this certainly is a way to juice up those Throne of Eldraine packs. What's your take, Chris?
I'm going to take Pauper every time. I mean, just look at the.
Oh, I was thinking I was going to take Prince every
Well,
time.
that probably means it's a good design, right? If we're already there's two of us in the chat and we're both debating about which is the right play, probably means it's in a good place. But I think just like bulking up your pool, especially in the early league, is going to be the right play because you can't control what rare you get. So let's say that you get
For sure.
a rare that's not in your color or a rare that's useless. You're going to feel really silly about choosing Prince, whereas Pauper, you're going to get some meat and potato card that's going to end up in your deck probably. So I'd rather have um, a card or two that I'm certainly going to use in my deck, even if it has little effect, than a sort of like high variance swing at a you know a bomb rare in my colors. But it's the gamblers. This is this is a plane for gamblers.
For sure. I will take that happily ever after and try to build like the worst win condition league deck of all time.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the community that threw their designs in the mix. Um, I think that this is it's just the community's rallied around this tournament concept in a really positive and constructive way, and everyone's been really understanding about like if we had to move their ideas around a little bit to get them on a card, they've been pretty cool about that. So yeah, I'm happy that people are going to get to see their cards get played with in the tournament, and glad that we had room for so many of them on different sets. All right, speaking of which, here's another set that we're going to be using. One of my favorites, because I won that league. Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. Here we have the Bonders Enclave. League decks must present a companion. Players can present any companion, even if it's not in their pool. So this is what I call Lutri Week. Um,
I don't know. I think there will be like some little diversity in things being used. Like I think Garuda is like the most powerful one like on its face.
I'm probably going to go for Garuda for old time's sake, just out of nostalgia. But yeah, I think that what this does, and I think this was whose submission was this again? Dalton.
Caleb's. It's on the bottom of the card.
Was it Caleb's?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
there
on
we go. Yeah,
the design credits are on there.
gotcha. So what Caleb's done here is he's very cleverly presented us with 10 different experiences and given us the sort of like an easy way to encode that on the card without using up a lot of text. So
Yeah,
really smart design, and obviously hits on the theme. I think the previous version of this was something like Sky Sail City, where all deck sizes had to be 80 cards. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
taking one companion and saying, okay, everybody has to basically use this companion without adding it to your pool. This turns it into something more like, yeah, the full-on Ikoria experience with all the busted
for
cards.
sure. You know what would be really awesome? Like, probably not going to happen because we have to roll this play, and then also have someone has to have the perfect pool. But cat is one of the creature types for Kahira, and there are a ton of cats in
Oh, damn.
Foundations.
Oh, so that might actually get better because it's one of the disfavored companions, right?
Yeah, maybe I will get its time in the sun this league. Um, all right. Speaking of playing with not much sun, Innistrad. This is one that we had a really tough time with, but I think like the design we ended up with. Drowneyard Temple. On even losses, comeback packs are from Innistrad Midnight Hunt. On odd losses, comeback packs are from Innistrad Crimson Vow. Whenever you lose a match, you may discard the first comeback pack that's generated, so you investigate basically. Um, if you do, you add a comeback pack of Shadows over Innistrad Remastered to your pool. So Shadows over Innistrad, probably worse than Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt, but if you don't like your pack, you do have an option to like see if you can get something better there.
Yeah, I like this card a lot because it kind of we've played a lot with Midnight Hunt. We've played a lot with Crimson Vow, and Shadows over Innistrad was a fairly recent remastered set. So yeah, the Shadows over Innistrad remastered mechanic was investigate, and so it's fitting that if you investigate, you get a Shadows over Innistrad remastered pack. I think that we'll probably end up seeing the packs that are opened and kept probably within 33% for each of these. I'm thinking, right? Because you're going to get
Yeah,
half
I can see
half
that.
half Midnight Hunt, half Crimson Vow, probably, right? On average, and then
Hmm.
maybe like let's say if you say half of, or say like I don't know,
If
a
like 1 in 3 times you investigate, that would make sense to me. Like,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I'm saying like probably
yeah,
like a third of the packs will get chucked back into a Shadows over Innistrad in the end. So that's probably going to mean like it's roughly going to be divided evenly between these three sets, and I think that's about right. And I think it's kind of cool that we can combine these sets, which are individually not that popular, kind of give them a nice planar theme that's unique,
yeah,
and
for
that kind
sure.
of is kind of eerie and spooky. Like you're not in control of what you're going to open based on what loss it is, and then you can kind of throw it back for this weird old set. Like I like the flavor here. I like the way we combine these three
Yeah.
disfavored sets.
Yeah, and also we had all three of them just now in this morning, so I don't mind like having the Innistrad sets like not like be the star of the show this time.
Yeah,
All right,
but
one of
but
my
they're all
favorite
there.
plays next,
They're all there, right? So that was part of the thing.
for
One
sure.
one of the things I was gunning for was, if not complete set inclusion, then the most sets represented in terms of pack options for this tournament, right? Just to make it a real tour of the multiverse. That was one of the design
For sure.
desiderata that I was kind of chasing.
And I think we did not end up like with all sets, but we did end up with all planes that are on Arena. So there's like there I mean there's 25 cards in the planar deck after week one, so there's a ton of possibilities.
Yeah.
All right, Ixalan,
All
Ixalan's
right.
core.
This one's pretty simple. When you planeswalk to Ixalan's core, each player gets two map tokens, and you get to keep those throughout the tournament. A map
Mhm.
token can be used to re-roll an unwanted comeback pack and replace it with a pack from any set left in the planar deck. So this is calls back to the mechanics of Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which all comeback packs during this week of Ixalan's core are Lost Caverns of Ixalan's packs. But it gives you like these little tools that you can use throughout the tournament to kind of spice it up. I like this one a lot in that you don't get to carry a lot with you from plane to plane, but these map tokens, you're going to want to keep them in your back pocket, especially if we travel to a plane with really weak sets. Oh,
Mhm.
that's going to be great.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be a great feeling.
for sure. Also,
Yeah, why is it your favorite,
uh,
Lotta? Maybe you can tell us.
Well, I love the map tokens. I think also like we are on a plane chase, or well, maybe we're doing open paths this time. So I like the maps, like they represent that, they fit in there. And can I just say that like this art, like it's on the backside of some weak ass Ixalan. This art is great. Like I'm super happy we got to use it here.
It is beautiful as a card.
Yeah. All right. From Ixalan to Kaladesh, the Inventors Fair. Pretty simple one. All combat packs are from Kaladesh Remastered. This is one plane that you would like to have those map tokens on. And decks may include a maximum of one rare or mythic rare. So you really, really get to show off the masterpiece that you have.
Yeah, I like this in terms of like you've got one submission to the fair. You better make it a good one.
For
And
sure.
I think that some planes give two packs or give three choices or whatever. This is a plane that gives you very few choices, and on top of that, you have pretty heavy deck restrictions. So I like it that not all the planes are wonderful. This one's obviously under some sort of consulate crackdown, right? Uh,
Hmm.
so
I almost made that the flavor for this card.
yeah, I do like the idea. It's a bit more of a positive flavoring. Like it's the inventor's fair. Pick your best and put it forward is also kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much to say about this one other than I think it's a very tidy design. It's one that doesn't raise a lot of questions, but we need weeks like that to make the more complicated weeks shine.
Yeah, and also one thing I do like is that Kaladesh Remastered has a lot of artifacts. If there's like some deck restriction, you may need like to add some extra cards to your deck if this gets rolled week 2 or 3. Well, then having like some colorless cards to fill out your deck is also kind of nice.
Hmm.
All right.
Then Planeswalk 2, the World Tree. When you planeswalk to the World Tree, each player receives a pack containing 5 snow-covered copies of each basic land type. All comeback packs are from Call Time. I thought we had changed this to 3 in order to make it a non-auto include. Uh,
No, it was the other way around actually. It was 3 originally in Plane Chase 1, and then it was changed to 5.
okay,
Before we started Plane Chase 1.
okay. Well, this is gonna make us this is gonna make snow mechanic really shine. Like you can auto include basically all that snow stuff. I think because you could just make your whole suite of basic lands snow covered. This might be broken.
Oh well, I don't know if it is. Like if you're running a two-color deck, you get 20 snow-covered lands. Well, maybe you open one more in your pack. So let's say 21, 22. Um, but so you have like wait, not even 21,
You mean
10,
12?
11, or 12.
Yeah, 12 with
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
So like half your lands are slow. That's a decent amount.
if you open one or two.
But then also, well, Kaldheim cards like aren't as strong as some more recent sets. So I think like even with like Snow at maximum grinds up like the relative power compared to the other set isn't going to be anything near broken.
Yeah, I mean there might be one or two cards that become uh, bombs, but I think yeah, you're right. By today's standards, I don't think anything's going to be necessarily completely unanswerable.
Yeah,
So let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, as the song says, I guess.
yeah.
All right. We all know the
All
World
right,
Tree, so we can move on pretty quickly from this one. We've played it
yeah,
before.
we can go to a different tree. But City Dew, the City Tree. All comeback pack are from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Whenever you open a combat pack, choose between innovation, tradition, and harmony. So if you choose innovation, your combat pack is guaranteed to have no enchantments, so you do have artifacts. And if you choose tradition, your combat pack is guaranteed to have no artifacts, but you do have enchantments. And then if you choose harmony, you just get a normal combat pack of Neon Dynasty.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this is one we already like tested out, and the packs really do feel different if you put between innovation and tradition packs.
Yeah, I think that what this plane does is it really demonstrates the innovative powers that the LC has in terms of like catering or sort of creating our own sets creating our own sort of experiences for, let's say, well, we can if we wanted to, we could redesign all the packs using Cube Cobra, and that's exactly what this is, right? So we have like Booster Tutor making the Harmony packs, and we have two separate cubes that will be rolled individually, one that keeps out the artifacts, one that keeps out the enchantments. And so it kind of shows like two possible alternate histories of Kamigawa, right? One where
Yeah, or two possible sides, right? That's what the set's all about, like
yeah,
the conflict between old and new.
yeah. So I mean that kind of ties in very well with Kamigawa flavorfully, and it also shows maybe again when I said that we're designing more or less 30 leagues instead of one. This is a possible league mechanic, right? That could have a life of its own
Yeah,
in a 6-week tournament, possibly. So it's kind of like some of it is experimental design, right? Like, would we want to do this ever again? Well, this is a safe-ish way to try it out because we're only doing it for 1 week as a chapter of a larger tournament experience.
yeah, for sure. Um,
Popular
well,
set.
one
This is
of
going to be
your
a fun plane, I think.
yeah, I think so. Like, and yeah, I wouldn't mind it if we rolled this one.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of popular planes, at least, like one of your designs is next.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Gateway Plaza. Whenever you lose a match, open one comeback pack of Guilds of Ravnica and one comeback pack of Ravnica Allegiance. So this is combining two, again, disfavored sets. And because each set focuses on 5 of the 10 guilds, you basically get to open up an equal amount of all the different kinds of guilds cards. And for this week, the restriction is all League decks must adhere to a guild color identity. And so you can build your deck any way you like, but it has to come out as a two-color, only two-color, deck. So that's kind of, you've got to pick a guild and stick with it. And I just think this is going to be one of the planes where it's a pseudo-factional plane, right? Really,
Yeah, for sure.
you'll be part of 10 factions, but I do think like this is it might be tough, right, in the first week or so, but you can still get there if you really need to. You might be super weak. Rolled in the later weeks, I think it won't be much of a restriction at all. It'll mostly be just a double pack week, but it might force
Yeah.
you to change some of your includes, right? So the tricolor or 5-color stuff goes out. Maybe you lean in your artifacts a bit harder to kind of bulk out your deck. I think that last time Gateway Plaza wasn't this exciting. We were going to open 2 packs, but this makes it just a bit more juiced. And I think if we're adding the restriction of a guild identity build, putting 2 packs in the mix is a kind of way to make up for that.
Yeah. I think this is I like this design. It's like very quintessentially Ravnica. The sets individually don't excite me much, but together I'm thinking like, all right, we'll see. Um, I think like it's sometimes like even in later ways it can matter a ton. Like all my good league results have been with 4 and 5 color monstrosities. So this was not one that would be very good for me.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe this time I'll get that lean and clean if attack.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I'd be really happy to roll this one and see what happens. Even though I'm not really jazzed about the sets individually, I do think getting them both together and forcing people into guild play is going to be dynamic and interesting.
For sure. All right, we have 2 more planes on Ravnica here that can be rolled weeks 2 to 5. Um, let's start with Godfarer's statue. Classic design. All combat packs are from War of Spark. My favorite set. League decks must contain at least 40 cards. So easy deck building.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, we're going back to what a lot of people think sealed is and should be, right? 40-card experience. This was flavored originally as Carol Keep on Ragatha, I believe, in the original Plane Chase tournament. And we're just reusing it here because we think it's a good restriction and it will favor sort of quick play. It's flavored here as a sort of War of the Spark set card because I guess war is quick, and you got to cut all the flab out of your deck and get aggressive. So Yeah, this is maybe one of our less tight, flavorful
For
links.
sure. Like for me, it is. I feel like the design went well. We really like the design, and we really want to have more of the spark in here, but we don't have a good design for it.
Hmm.
Let's solve two problems at once.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's
yeah,
fine. Like,
it's a whole filling, right? Exercise, but maybe it'll make some people really happy. Let's hope.
yeah. Like I mean, I do think this is fun. Like I think like this restriction like would work with almost any plane. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, me too. I don't mind it. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we have the last Ravnica card, my favorite set.
Hmm. So this is Scene of the Crime. All comeback packs are from Murders of Karloff Manor. So when you planeswalk to Scene of the Crime, each player receives one location, one murder weapon, and one. I think it was a suspect. This one might be a little changed from the file. I think that got approved.
No, we did put them in the case. So like if you go to scene of a crime, you get like a Rodney puzzle like we had in MKM. So you have to like put some guesses in to like guess your suspect. Your suspect can be any uncommon legendary creature. Um, and once you have guessed your suspect, only then you get to add them to your pool.
So we get to return to interactions with Steve's bot that he carefully built, and it's a flavorful puzzle that you have to solve by the end of the week. Um, yeah, so that was yeah. I think this is a kind of nice throwback to the mechanics from Murders of Karloff Manor, and yeah, all the things in that league that people were, let's say, maybe more worried about are kind of removed from this week of play, but still the fun of solving a mystery and the potential reward of doing so is there as well. I think that
And we should mention
there's a prize for winning for solving the case first, right?
definitely, and we should mention that the locations are lands on Ravnica, and the murder weapons are common and uncommon equipment. So, and then once you get solve your case, you get to say like, oh, it was Altanach the Triskald with the bone saw in the at the Boros build gate.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And so you know, I would predict, and I don't want to say solve the mystery or reduce the tension, but the prize might be related to who the murderer actually is, right?
Yeah, I think like you will add the suspect. The suspect is the one, if you guess it, the one that will be added to your pool.
Well, that's a fun one. And again,
All
I'm
right.
surprised that there were two versions of this card up until very late in the process, and I think it shows the complexity of designing this league that even I'm kind of like scratching my head, like, did we really, did we really go through this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I
This is
think
one that
there's a lot of
Jordan did a lot of.
there's a lot of moving parts in this process,
Yeah,
and the funny thing is that even through all the debate and all the redesigns of this plane, we might not roll it.
yeah, for
But
sure.
that's part of the joy of it, right? Like this is really a labor of love, I think, for me and a lot of the other members of the LC.
Definitely for me.
Hmm.
All right, there's two planes left from the week 2 to 5 category, and then 8 more cards. And I think those are our most complicated and our most simple plane. Let's start with the most complicated one. Honest Rudstein's General Store. Plane to the junction. When you planeswalk to Honest Rudstein's, what do you say in English? Like Honest Rudstein's General Store,
Sure.
the General Store reopens and each player gets 1,000 bucks. Whenever a player loses a match, they get 1,000 bucks. Whenever you lose a match, and when you play your last match of the week, you may buy a pack from the General Store. So it's just General Store from OCJ League that gets reopened. The price moving mechanics will work the same as before. One thing to mention is that the starting prices, like, are going to be the average prices of packs sold during OTGA Lake, not
Hmm.
the final prices, because in week 6, like a couple of the packs ended up going like very, very cheap.
Right.
That would create some worse incentives. So you get to buy any pack from the OTGA League.
Yep. So the store reopens, and of course, OTJ or Outlaws of Thunder Junction is so strong that'll probably be one of the most highly sought after packs. But you have a chance potentially to get a couple of good purchases in that are off brand if that's where you want to go. So I think this is going to be pretty flavorful, right? I mean, Adam has a lot of fun with this part of the
For
league,
sure.
the flavor side of things, and I think this is also going to hit that. It's going to scratch that nostalgic itch for a lot of players who had fun
Yeah.
with the General Store mechanic in OTJ League.
Yeah, one thing that I um think that's some interesting adds some interesting tension is like if you play your last match, even if you win it, you still get to buy something. So normally like an OTJ pack costs $1,500, right? So you
Hmm.
start with 1,000. So you might say, oh, I lose my first two matches, get 2,000, 3,000 total. I just get to buy two OTJ packs um, right at the for my first two losses. And you might do that, but then like if you only win from there on, then you don't have any money left to buy um, another pack when you leave Thunder Junction. So there's some tension there.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's pretty well designed. It's spot on and very apropos of the OTJ League and for revisiting so soon on this plane. I think it's gonna hit people in a good way.
Yeah, all right. And we end with Jordan Design, I think.
Okay, so here we have River Glide Pathway. So we have a plane with kicker. So if it's week 4 or more of league play, the kicker is activated. If kicker's not activated, all comeback packs, so in weeks 1 to 3, will be Zendikar Rising. But if it's kicked, then all comeback packs are from Modern Horizons 3 instead. So this is a fun one. Because Zendikar Rising, not the most interesting or wild set, but if you roll this in the later weeks, holy crap. Modern Horizons 3, the packs are juiced. It
For
will
sure.
substantially improve your deck. So this is a weird one. It's an interesting one. It sort of shows that the link between the Eldrazi on Zendikar is sort of like mechanically preserved in an interesting way. So yeah, flavor wise, I love this. In terms of like including all the sets and making sure they have a chance to shine, I love it, and it just makes me smile. The kicker clause on this.
That's also like one of the things I like. We did consider like doing like you get a comeback pack from Modern Horizons if you have seven or more losses. Didn't end up going there, but I do like that there was like the most sevenest Eldrazi card was spoiled for Foundations.
That's
All
great.
right, so the sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
Good job, Jordan.
So these
Oh,
are
yeah.
all the planes, and now we have the phenomena. All right, a phenomenon, phenomenon, phenomenon is it's just something that can happen, something that we can encounter in the multiverse, um, and it will have an effect on the league. And but we immediately planeswalk further. So if we draw a phenomenon, all phenomena end with planeswalk. So we go to another plane. There's four phenomena. And I think all of them are like pretty exciting and have like a pretty big effect. One of the cleanest designs that we started with, all will be one. When you
Mm-hmm.
encounter all will be one, each player may retire their starting pool, so that's your foundations packs. If you do, you add six packs of Phyrexia all will be one to your pool. So you get a whole new starting pack, a whole new starting deck, and get to see if you roll those Phyrexia will be one bombs. But you do have to live with all the very parasitic, toxic, and oil counters mechanic.
Yeah, I like this one. This was one of the ones that in the original Plane Chase League, I think we had Morphic Tide or something in one of the design files, and that was where you had to because I'm always trying to get Jumpstart into things. You replaced all the packs in your league so far with Jumpstart packs and sort of see what happens. This is obviously a bit more balanced and a bit more thematically justifiable. because jumpstart packs are all they lead you into one color, and you could if you rolled all your
Mhm.
jumpstart packs and there are one or two colors, you get this busted deck.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just replacing six packs with Phyrexia all will be one, um, that gives you a nice base for getting a poison deck together or an infect deck together, or whatever. But not it's not going to be completely unbalancing. I think it's a nod towards the flavor of the league, which was mostly mono set. Like Phyrexia All of Young was largely just packs of one. And that went in the flavor of the set, right, which is trying to convert the entire multiverse into Phyrexians.
Mhm.
The original version of this card was going to make it not optional. Like it's just going to be one league from now on, and everybody's going to be flipped into opening it, making it modular, making it a sort of choice. I think opens it up to be a more interesting mechanic. There will be Phyrexians and there will be non-Phyrexians, and there will be a discussion about what it's correct to do early in that week of play.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I think this is a much more balanced and tolerable effect. If you like your deck, you can keep it the way it is. If you don't like your deck, well, cash it in and see what you can get instead. So,
It
yeah.
also calls back to the completion and the pool rerolling that was in one week.
Yes.
Um, and one more thing I like about this plane, or this phenomenon, sorry, is that, well, let's be honest, All Will Be One is not the most popular set, and I like that this is a way to include it, like have some really like one flavor in there for the people who like to have the plane, but it's opt-in. So if you don't want to play with these cards, well, you're never forced to.
That's right. Yeah, and I like it too, like because it's not disruptive to the rest of the tournament. Like it's a choice that you make before you play any matches that week, but you'll have 2 days to make that choice before play for that week begins. So you
Mhm.
can have some time to think about it before you planeswalk, and then you go to a different plane anyway. So like the whole planar conquest thing is kind of like it's a blip between other planes where other
Yeah,
rules are in play. So yeah, I think this one of the strongest phenomenon and one of the ones that we designed the earliest. So yeah, I think this one's a big flavor win. A nice way to include one, which is kind of a parasitic set in a way that makes those mechanics work by bulking decks out that want them with six packs of it. Yeah, I can't. I have nothing more to say than I love this one for what it
for
is.
sure.
Even though
All
I'm
right.
not a fan of All Will Be One. I won't be making this choice probably unless I really opened the Dog's Bollocks pack of foundations. But
We'll see.
we'll see
All
exactly. I might be
right.
tempted.
Take us to our next phenomenon, Chris.
All right, this was I think your design, Lotta, right?
No, I think this was Adam's design, maybe.
Was it?
Oh, maybe Jordan's. This is not my design.
Okay, all right. Well, in any case, this is why we have acknowledgments for all the league committee members in the rule set now. This is the big score. It's a phenomenon. When you encounter the big store, players are assigned to teams of 3 for the following week of play. So it's not a faction league, it's a team league. And members of the teams with the 10% highest combined score for that week of play get a random bonus card from the big score. And then you planeswalk. So this doesn't have a huge effect on gameplay. It just means you get to work together with a few people, like a few of your friends for the week, and it gives you a little juice,
Yeah.
a little boost if you manage to pull off the big heist with your pals. And so, yeah, I think it's a way to sort of bring your friends closer during a tournament experience, which could otherwise be isolating, right? To boost community engagement, and I do think that here the juice is worth the squeeze. Um, you're going to be forced to forge
And
alliances very quickly, and yeah, it's exciting to get your team
yeah.
together at short notice for the big score.
Yeah, so but to be clear, like the teams are not, we ended up going with our aside, so you don't get to choose your teammates.
Uh huh.
Um, and how they are assigned is that each team will have one person from the top third of the standings, one person from the middle third, and one person from the bottom third. So there'll be really a diverse array of how the league's going so
Yeah.
far.
I like that one better. Again, this is one of the ones that changed late in the design. But I like the idea of being forced to work with new people. I think that's probably healthy for the league and healthy for making this tournament experience different from a team league where you get to choose your teammates. So, yeah, I think this is actually a better fixed version of the
For
big
sure.
score.
All right, let's go to the High Council of Paliano. It's a voting plane. When you encounter the High Council of Paliano, players have 24 hours to vote for the next plane from a random selection of 3. Planes vote to that plane. So actually, I was really pushing for this to just like be the standard. I really wanted to have like every week we draw 3 planes and get to vote between them. But well, we didn't reach consensus, and I also said that if we don't have consensus on this, if we don't have a majority opinion, we should just go with simpler option and draw on at random. But I still really hope that we get this one. I think it's a very sweet design.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking about ways to boost community engagement. There's probably no better way to get the community cooperating and debating and you know than to sort of make this a tripartite party selection between 3 planes and have everybody arguing for their favorite. So, yeah, I think that this one, big engagement. I actually like it better as a one-off phenomenon because I think that people are really gonna like put a lot of
For sure.
energy and attention on the chance to vote in a way that if we had it every
Mhm.
week, it might become normalized. But yeah, I think this is the right touch, and I think that we kind of had the High Council of Paliano already operating on the community plane submission
Yeah, that's
project.
fair.
So we already had a vote for which plane we went to in week 1. If this happens again, we get to have one more week of community-led planeswalking.
Oh, and for our American friends, don't forget to vote before playing Jays Week 1. There's one more phenomenon. Chris, why don't you introduce Adam's magnum opus?
Democracy is important. All right, so this was Adam's dream card. He really pushed for this one, and I think we were resisting at first, and then we sort of like rallied behind it again in the 11th hour. It actually harkens back to a discarded design idea from the first plane chase league that was kicked out because it was thought to be unbalancing or unworkable. I think this is a decent iteration of it. So, when you encounter Underworld Breach, revive all eliminated players. All revived players.
Extreme line of text. Like I
Yeah,
think the most exciting line of text in all the planes.
it truly is a phenomenon. All revived
Yeah.
players open a comeback pack of Theros Beyond Death. For the rest of the league, players open a comeback pack of Theros Beyond Death at their 11th loss and aren't eliminated until their 12th loss. Planeswalk. There's a lot to wrap your head around here. Um, so the dead walk again, and they walk again with an extra pack of Theros Beyond Death. It's kind of like the golden coins that cover their eyes in the burial rites of ancient peoples, right? So they're walking around now. They're revived again. It's like a zombie league, right? Basically.
Sure. Yeah.
But the funny thing is that everybody has the same ability. Everybody gets an extra life. And everybody gets to open a pack of Theros Beyond Death instead of dying. Which
Yeah, everyone gets to the river Styx and get like immediately turned back. Like they only the second time they can get to pass through.
what I do like is that the eliminated players will already be at their 11th loss, and so they won't get the extra comeback pack or the extra chance. Like they've already burnt through that, which is great, very balancing. So everybody gets one pack of Theros Beyond Death. Essentially, is what this says. You just get it. You get it at the 11th hour, right? When you're at death's door. We've never seen anything like this in League. We've never seen extra lives being given out. This changes the length of the tournament. It changes the number of people who will be still alive when the top 8 cuts off. It affects a lot of things. This one's going to be very divisive, I think. There's going to be people who argue this shouldn't be in the tournament. There's going to be people that argue this is the greatest thing.
Yeah. I
for
will
the
say that
tournament.
I was one of the people who was around like the original designs, but like when we got this design, like I was like fully convinced. Like I think this is a really clean implementation of bringing the players back from the dead.
Yeah, I think so too. And just for the hell of it, I'm hoping this one gets rolled, just to see,
Sure.
just to see people lose their minds.
I'm
Um,
kind of hoping that all phenomena will be rolled, but I mean, I'm also kind of hoping that every plane gets rolled. So, um, unfortunately, that's not possible. Maybe next time we do a 20-week plane chase league.
yeah, I think that the way that the rules are currently written, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, since they've changed many, many times, we are going to use one of the restrictions from the leftover planes to decide the form of the mega draft.
Well, no, I think that what we ended up deciding is, well, like I could be open to that, but I think like we ended up deciding is that the mega draft will be one pack of foundations and then five packs like drawn randomly from the planar deck. So
Yeah,
if we draw Underworld Breach, then Terrace Beyond that will be a pack, and
exactly.
if we draw the next card, Noctamune, it will be Amonkhet Remastered. So there's four planes that are can only appear week 4 to 6
Hmm.
for various reasons. So they get added to the player deck at week 4. And well, let's just go through them. We're on home stretch. Noctamoon, Amonkhet. All comeback packs are from Amonkhet Remasters. And whenever you roll a comeback pack of Amonkhet, you may embalm it. And if you do, you replace it with your pack with a random comeback pack opened during a previous week. And maybe, depending on like when we roll this, we may just do like only comeback packs from players who are already eliminated.
Okay.
Um, Steve called this trash recycled, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah, I like the flavor. Harkening back to Amonkhet, I think that we had something pretty unsatisfying before, like all you can only include cards in your deck that had a casting cost of 3 or lower. So it was very, again, weak flavoring Link. This is a much stronger flavoring Link, and I think that the technology for supporting implementation of wacky ideas in League is much better now than it was during Plane Chase One. So with Steve on our side, I'm hoping that this is going to be easy to implement and a nice flavorful way to go through trashed packs, packs that have either been uh, discarded through some of our investigate and other mechanics where we throw out a comeback pack, or that are just in the trash because players aren't using them because they're eliminated. I really like the idea
Yeah.
of recycling here. And again, it's random. It's completely random, so it's not like if you really have to hate your pack of Amonkhet Remastered to just like completely, completely trash it in the hopes of some
Sure.
discarded pack being better.
I mean, it also depends on what we go before, right? So if we go to some, like, if we end up like going to some powerful sets through Duskmorn and stuff like weeks 2 and 3, then like embalming is much more attractive because the possibilities are more powerful. That's also why, for those wondering, this is a week 4 plus plane.
Hmm.
Like if this would get rolled week 2, then it could only reroll into foundations, and that's not really the fun of it, right?
Right. Exactly.
All right. Okay, next up we have our most controversial play by Country Mile.
Okay. Plaza of Heroes. All comeback packs are from Dominaria United. Matches must be played as the best of 3 60-card friendly brawl games. The brawl plane. Players must win games with 2 different creature commanders to win the match. Players can use any DMU multicolor uncommon commander in addition to any commanders in their pool. So, okay. First of all, the player base divided between people who love Brawl and people who hate Brawl.
For
Right?
sure.
And never the twain shall meet. There was a Brawl. There was a Brawl league. Sorry, there was a Brawl plane, the original Plane Chase League, and we rolled it. And those who liked it a lot. This sort of conquest requirement is a way to make sure that busted commanders aren't overused, and as well the
Mhm.
uncommon or common commander, I suppose. We could probably put common in there as well without any cost.
Hmm.
These commanders, right, are sort of generally speaking less powerful than the rares and the mythic rares. So it's a way to do brawl in a safe, fun way? Question mark?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. We also did a poll on this because we were like pretty divided internally. Like nothing could get like a majority opinion. Actually, there's six of us. We had nothing that could even like have three different people get agreeing together. So we polled the community, and this is the design that they like best. But even so, there are people who don't like Brawl. So for the people who don't like it, I hope you don't roll it. For Adam and Miranda, I hope you do roll it.
So basically, I mean, the odds are what? They're not great. This is a plane that you can only roll from weeks 4 to 6. So there's only
Yeah,
3 weeks where it can be rolled. It's shuffled into the planar deck where you have so many other options there.
yeah.
I mean, the odds are probably worse than 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 that this is going to see the
I
light of day.
believe, yeah, I believe the option is about like one in 6.
Yeah. So I mean,
Um,
there's a
could be
pretty
more if we end up voting for it, but I don't know. We'll
there's
see. Like what?
yeah, votes. I hadn't thought about that. Oh God, the combinatorials on this tournament are pretty extreme once you start adding in all the different factors. And I suppose it's
For
longer
sure.
if we stay alive and get revived. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Plaza of Heroes. I mean, it's there for people who like it. It's more controlled and more circumscribed for people who don't. It's no longer thematically tied to the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms like it used to be, because in this particular, this might be the last time when we get a chance to do this, but we kept out all of the IP that wasn't mainline Magic essentially. So no Lord of the Rings playing, no Dungeons and Dragons playing. This, we already we had to design a lot of things to get this far. So cutting out the Universes Beyond stuff, it felt right, I think, for this
yeah, for
project
sure.
before we dive into a year of pretty heavy Universes Beyond sets.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking that, but this is as an aside. This is I was talking with Jack about that we may use this also as a promotion tool for the AGL. Like people who are angry with all the Universe Beyond stuff. Well, this like plane chase, super flavorful way to play Magic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, two more planes. Emperor Tournament 2. Sequel to the Emperor Tournament we rolled in original Plane Chase. Um, all combat packs are from Wilds of Eldraine, and the league decks must contain a maximum of one type of basic land. So you can run planes, but if you do, you can't run any your basic forests, mountains, swamps, or islands.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this restriction. I mean, pretty clearly calls back to the sort of adamant mechanic, right? Where on Eldraine we have these courts, these nightly courts, and for whatever reason
Hmm.
they're all centered around one color of mana. So that's reflected in the one type of basic land. You get to choose which knight academy that you end up with, and yeah, Wilds of Eldraine, pretty powerful set on its own. So yeah, this is a pretty nice fit,
Yeah.
I think, for a later week of
For
play.
people for people who didn't play Plane Chase 2022, like 2023, I should say. Like, I think this may read like horrible, like not fun to play. This is actually a blast to play, and not just because I had Godos in my deck, because there are so many. You just like look at your pool like a whole different way. All the off-color lands you still get to use, like all your dual lands, but even your like random utility lands that you thought was worse than a basic, can still use. So you really get to like make a or like make some light decisions about like what cards to include, what's my main color, what can I play that's off color. Much more fun than you would think based on just reading it.
I think so too. Yeah, this is it's very simple, so people might not get it on first view, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting deck building restriction, and it's going to provide lots of fun for players to work around. So yeah, I'm also excited about this one.
Yeah. All right, final playing. Wonder if there's people who've taken like notes in their head and like know what's maybe coming.
All right, Realmbreaker, New Phyrexia. All comeback packs are from March of the Machine. Every day for that week of play, we permanently remove a card from the planar deck. Bump, bump, bump. Matches must be played in the Conquest format. Players must win 2 games with decks sharing no basic land types. So this Conquest is an interesting format, and I think that this is an interesting way to refer to it. And it makes you build 2 decks for the week. And so you get to use more of your pool. And of course, this takes place in the later weeks of League, so you're going to have enough cards to do that. The planar deck gets wrecked sort of incidentally, right? That has no real effect on how the game plays, but it's very flavorfully in line with March of the Machine, kind of roaming across the multiverse and wiping stuff out. So yeah.
Oh, but I bet you that if like this gets rolled week 4, and my favorite plane gets deleted, or this gets rolled week 6, and I'm going to make top 8, and I'll like see all my favorite planes disappear from the Megadeth possibility. I'm still going to be sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's we wanted to have some planes that have some sort of negative outcome, so that there's some drama, or there's at least some potential bad feel that happens. They're not all planes with upside, right? There's some things that happen in the multiverse that just aren't all happiness and sunshine. And hitting Realmbreaker and seeing your pet planes get taken out of contention, it's going to be an interesting psychological psychological moment in the tournament, right? When people kind of gather together to see what's rolled each day, which plane gets knocked out. So some people will be cheering, of course, too, when their least favorite planes get eliminated.
Oh, imagine if Dominaria United, if the Brawl plane gets
Oh,
knocked out by Realmbreaker.
a cheer will erupt from throughout the multiverse, probably. I would think.
Yeah,
And
we'll see.
a similar number of people going no. But yeah, so that's great. It's kind of like a phenomena and a plane all in one.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the end of our
All
file.
right, so that concludes our tour of the mutant multiverse. Like, I think there's like so much design going on there. Like, I'm very excited for this league. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts, Chris?
Gosh, well, we're already kind of our episode is already pretty bloated, but I've got a lot of thoughts. Some of which I can share here, some of which I guess I'm going to have to carry with me into the tournament itself. I'm really excited to be going back to the plane chase league mechanic. I'm excited that we finally found a place to make phenomena work. I think that Foundations as a set is more interesting than people are letting on. So I think that I'm gonna be excited to play with those cards for at least like 2 weeks or whatever, with the opening starting pool and with the doing my practice matches, and then opening Foundations for a week on top of that. I think is gonna be a good experience, and then all the fun that's involved in planeswalking and hitting phenomena. I don't know. I want to thank yourself and the rest of the LC for helping make this a reality. And I think it possibly exceeds the original Plane Chase in terms of originality without becoming overly complex. I'm certain that we've produced a league that's going to provide experiences and for meaningful play that a lot of our players will not have had before. So
Yeah.
really exciting times for the AGL and for our players and for us in the LC to kind of see how some of these planes are received, see if people want to see them again in different forms as major tournament mechanics, which ones are unpopular, which ones polarize people. There's a lot of data points that are going to come out of this experience as well that are going to guide us in the coming year of design.
For sure. And yeah, one more thing. Thanks again to all the people who participate in the planar design contest. Like, if this is the start of like the engagements and the things that we're going to see during this league, well, I'm very hyped.
Thank you again for being my guest, Lotta, and for walking through the tournament spoiler in a way that we don't really normally get to do. Like We don't normally get to do this kind of episode of Leagues Behind because the tournament mechanics are explicable within a paragraph or two. This was a bit of a deeper dive, a bit of a special episode. Thanks for being with me through the last hour and a quarter. And yeah, thanks to everyone who's going to be joining us in this adventure across the multiverse. Thank you very much again, Lotta.
See you around.
See you soon. Hope to play you. Bye for now.